There once was a hobbit named Bilbo Baggins. He liked his life in the Shire, far away from any adventure. But then Gandalf showed up, and suddenly Bilbo found himself on an adventure that would change him forever. This is the story of The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. First, we'll talk about the Hobbit trilogy. Then we'll dive into The Lord of the Rings, and trust me, you won't want to miss either story. Part 1, The Hobbit Trilogy. Chapter 1, An Unexpected Journey. Bilbo Baggins was perfectly happy in his cozy hole in the Shire until Gandalf the Wizard showed up and convinced him to go on an adventure with 13 dwarves led by Thorin Oakenshield. Their mission, steal back the dwarves' treasure from the dragon Smaug. Bilbo wasn't sure he was up for it, but thanks to some encouraging words from Gandalf, he decided to give it a shot. Along the way, Bilbo showed more courage than he ever thought he had. He outsmarted trolls, escaped from goblins, and even befriended a creature called Gollum, and it was during their fight that Bilbo found a mysterious ring that gave him some pretty powerful abilities. In the end, they reached the lonely mountain where Smaug lived, and Bilbo managed to sneak into the dragon's lair and steal back the treasure. But when the townspeople saw all the treasure, they wanted it too, so a big battle broke out. Bilbo ended up saving the day by reminding everyone about the importance of friendship and working together. As for Smaug, he was defeated by a human warrior, Bard, who used Bilbo's earlier escape plan to hit the dragon's one weak spot. After the battle, Bilbo returned home richer and wiser, and although he missed his adventures, he was glad to be home again. Chapter 2, The Desolation of Smaug. After Bilbo's adventures with the dwarves, he went back home to the Shire, thinking he'd put his adventurous days behind him, but soon he was off on another wild ride. This time, the dwarves had set off to reclaim their homeland of Erebor from the nasty dragon Smaug, who'd taken it over years ago. Bilbo joined them, along with the wizard Gandalf and the elf Legolas. They faced many dangers on their way, like giant spiders in the dark woods of Mirkwood. Bilbo even got captured by wood elves and thrown into a dungeon, but luckily, Gandalf came to save the day and help Bilbo escape. Later, they met up with the Lake Town folks, who were also fed up with Smaug and wanted him gone. Bilbo made a plan to get into Smaug's mountain lair and find the secret to defeating him. Meanwhile, the dwarves headed into Mirkwood to try and rally the wood elves to their cause. But the elves weren't too keen on helping at first. Eventually, after a lot of convincing, they agreed to join the fight against Smaug. As for Bilbo, he managed to sneak into Smaug's lair and take a closer look at the dragon. He learned that Smaug's only weakness was a small spot on his chest where his armor didn't quite cover. With this new info, Bilbo raced back to the others to warn them about Smaug's weakness. But while he was gone, Smaug had woken up and was super mad that someone had snuck into his lair. He flew over to Lake Town and burned it to the ground. Now everyone was really mad at Smaug and eager to fight back. So Bilbo and the dwarves teamed up with the humans and elves to get ready for a big battle. Chapter 3, The Battle of the Five Armies. The long-awaited showdown between the dwarves, humans, elves, and Smaug's army finally happened at the Lonely Mountain. It was epic, with massive armies clashing and dragons flying around, but things didn't go exactly as planned. Thorin became consumed with greed and wouldn't share the mountain's treasure with anyone, even his closest friends. It seemed like the fighting would never end. That was until Bilbo stepped in and reminded everyone about the real meaning of friendship and working together. His words finally made Thorin come to his senses and realize how wrong he'd been acting. Sadly, Thorin was mortally wounded in the battle, but he redeemed himself by sacrificing his life to protect his friends. And guess what? All three groups worked together to win the war. Smaug was no match for Bard, who hit the dragon right in his weak spot, just like Bilbo had planned. In the end, peace returned to Middle-earth, and the dwarves were able to finally reclaim their home. Bilbo went back to the Shire feeling like he'd accomplished something really important. He'd helped forge an alliance between different races who might not have trusted each other otherwise. Plus, he'd saved the day more than once. But maybe the coolest part was that Bilbo had become a hero even when he didn't feel like one. He proved that anyone can be a hero if they try hard enough. Now let's move on to Part 2, The Lord of the Rings Trilogy. Chapter 1, The Fellowship of the Ring. Many years passed since Bilbo's amazing adventures in The Hobbit, and now he was getting pretty old. His nephew Frodo was visiting from the Shire, and Bilbo decided it was time to pass down his famous walking stick to him. But there was a catch. Bilbo also revealed that he was giving Frodo another heirloom, a seemingly simple gold ring. What Frodo didn't know was that this ring was actually the One Ring, a super powerful magic ring created by the Dark Lord Sauron. This ring gave its wearer power beyond their wildest dreams, but it also made them greedy and corrupted their soul. Even worse, Sauron was looking for his lost ring, and he could sense that it was nearby. Suddenly, Gandalf showed up, and he confirmed that the ring was indeed the One Ring. He and the other wizards had been searching for it for years, and now they needed to get it to Rivendell as fast as possible, a safe place far away from Sauron's spies. At Rivendell, it was decided that the ring should be destroyed in the fires of Mount Doom in Mordor, the only place where it could be unmade. But there was a big problem. No one wanted to be the one to carry the ring to Mordor because its evil power was making Frodo go insane. But ultimately, Frodo volunteered for the mission, saying that he couldn't let Sauron win. So a group of 8 people known as the Fellowship of the Ring was formed to protect Frodo and help him on his journey. There was also a wizard named Gandalf, Aragorn, a human ranger, Legolas, a skilled elf archer, Gimli, a tough dwarf warrior, and Boromir, a brave human soldier. As the Fellowship set out on their journey, it was clear that their quest would be perilous, and many challenges lay ahead. Chapter 2, The Two Towers. As the Fellowship traveled through the treacherous lands of Middle-earth, they faced many dangers. Gandalf fought against huge creatures called Uruk-hai and then disappeared mysteriously. Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli went to rescue Merry and Pippin from the evil wizard Saruman. Meanwhile, Frodo and Sam continued on to Mordor, guided by the treacherous creature Gollum, who had once been a hobbit but was horribly corrupted by the ring's power. Back at Helm's Deep, Aragorn rallied the men of Rohan to fight against Sauron's forces, and despite being outnumbered, they managed to hold their ground for several days. During the siege, Gimli and Legolas became good friends with the Rohirrim people and culture. In the end, reinforcements arrived and the Rohirrim won the battle, but not without heavy losses. As for Frodo and Sam, they got separated on their way to Mordor, and Sam accidentally revealed the ring's power to a scary creature called a fell beast. Luckily, Gollum saved them both by attacking the beast. In the end, Frodo and Sam reunited with the others at the Paths of the Dead. Just when things seemed darkest, Gandalf returned with reinforcements, Merry and Pippin, and together they planned their next move. Chapter 3, The Return of the King. With Sauron's forces getting stronger every day, the Free Peoples prepared for one last stand. Aragorn claimed his birthright as the heir to Gondor and became king. As Frodo and Sam got closer to Mordor, Gollum's obsession with the ring grew stronger. He tried to trick Frodo into giving it to him, but Frodo refused. Instead, Frodo and Sam managed to make it to Mount Doom, where the ring had been forged. Just when it seemed like they might succeed in destroying the ring, Gollum grabbed it and ran away. In the end, Gollum tripped and fell into the fires of Mount Doom, destroying the ring and vanquishing Sauron once and for all. With Sauron defeated, the Dark Ages came to an end. Aragorn's rule marked the beginning of a new era for Middle-earth, and Frodo sailed west to heal from his wounds. As for Sam, he stayed in Middle-earth, returning to the Shire and living out the rest of his years in peace. So there you have it, the epic stories of The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. If you enjoyed this whirlwind tour through Middle-earth, don't forget to leave your thoughts. Until next time, keep reading and dreaming of adventures.